Within the Hausas, you have other tribes within the Hausas who identify as a body of a kingdom of Hausas. You have the Kanuris. Within that space of the Kanuris, you also, like that. These are like ethnic groups, right? But within them, they have different tribes that they share affinity in lands, language, religion, tradition, and so many. This is why they said, if Nigeria, breaking up of Nigeria, okay, is to say all of us that are forced to this contraption today. And if you want to know how this contraption is in fact created based on the political arrangement of the British, let me remind you. You see the Adamawa you see today, who is part of Nigeria today, is originally supposed to be under the French Cameroon. And you see today's Bakassi Peninsula, southern Cameroon. You see the entire southern Cameroon where they speak English is supposed to be part of Nigeria today. But because when Uthman Dan Fodio staged his jihad against the leaders of the Hausas in 1807 or thereabout, when the jihad started, and the Fulanis accused the Hausa leaders of being corrupt and ungodly, two elites who just want to enjoy while their people suffer. So the jihad succeeded in the part of Hausa land. There is a part called which is the Gobir, the old Gobir, and some of us call it Gogobiri or Gobir. So Gobir is where they now situated, they call Sokoto today. Now you see that jihad is even like, it's kind of only partially succeeded in Hausa land. It did not get to Borno. You see that Borno, Bamunda, all those areas, they were supposed to be part of the old Cameroon because they resisted the Fulani then. Now, when the British came, they slowed down the jihad. The Borno people rejected them and defeated them. The Middle Belt and the Berom, the TVs, the Jukuns that are now fighting themselves today, they bonded together, defeated Uthman Dan Fodio. It was actually that fight that killed him. Now, British came. When British came, it was actually through conquest, okay? That was how they conquered the northern part of Nigeria, including the Borno Empire, okay? So what did they do? The British now, in order to create a northern Nigeria, okay, they had an agreement with the Fulanis, kind of like, we'll leave you to do your thing. We are not going to touch that. So you continue ruling the people the way you want. And then as long as we get what we want as well, then we are fine. That was the arrangement. But the British now ended the Borno Empire, which cuts beyond today's Borno, Nigeria, and spread to the other part of the Adamawa, the northern Cameroon. The British, having got that, right? They bought it. In fact, they actually bought that from the Cameroon by renegotiating, the Borno Empire that falls into part of Nigeria. Now, here's why. The Fulani Jihad couldn't proceed to capture any other land. So when British came, they kind of settled with the Fulani, okay, you know what? We're not going to touch anything you are doing here, okay? But we're going to create or try to bring all these other countries, because they were supposed to be their own countries. I'm going to bring them all and fuse them and create a northern Nigeria, right? And creating a northern Nigeria means the Fulani Sultan, which happened to be the grandson of Uthman Dan Fodio, was kind of like put in charge this time around, including the land that his grandfather, Uthman Dan Fodio, could not conquer. So British gave that control and said, this is northern Nigeria. So they bought that part of northern Cameroon, added it to Nigeria. to create the northern Nigeria, or the biggest, so that it can suit the arrangement of northern Nigeria is more populated than the south. And therefore, they will give them the power to control the government. But down south, the Bakassi Peninsula, Calabar, down to the southern Cameroon, to this part of southern Cameroon, they were originally part and parcel of southern Nigeria. But in order to whittle down the power or the strength of the southern Nigeria they wanted to create, they decided to give independence to southern Cameroon. And when it was time for them to cede it to France, they did not even blink. They just gave them to France. That is why the southern part of Cameroon today, they speak English, because until 1947, 48, they were part of Nigeria. But when they were scheming for independence of Nigeria, southern part of Cameroon today, being part of southern Nigeria, will continue to give southern Nigeria the edge which they have had in education, they've had in secretariat management, government business, and the rest of that, which northern Nigeria didn't have. They did not open the northern part of this Nigeria they were scheming and putting together. They did not open it up to the rest of southern Nigeria until 1952 or 1953, just few years before independence. So what am I trying to bring up here? British created this arrangement to suit an agenda that never for once secured the consent of all of the fused countries. And since then, they said we should go and make it work. It's been 64 years. Generations, millions have been killed. And millions have been born into poverty. More millions are going to be born into poverty because they forced us to live together and try to make it work. Now, we can make it work if there is actually a platform where all of us can come together, put our different, our different demands together and say, this is going to be our demand if we are to still be part of this union. At least for the first time, let the people kind of have a say and say, okay, yeah, we want to be part of it, or we don't want to be part of it. This conversation is what they don't want us to have. And that is why so many chancers, past and present, continue to tell us that they know the problem of Nigeria. They will fix it. And every now and then they say they will fix it. They dip us or dig us into more problems. And every of the problem actually claim lives. You are watching me right now because it hasn't claimed yours. But we are all just awaiting victims. All of us are going to die. Normally we are going to die. But people have died. People who shouldn't have died in Nigeria. People are dying every day. People that could have been saved. You get what I mean? Violently. A lot of people are dying in poverty in such a way that, people that could be saved with just ordinary, in today's value, just ordinary $10 could have kept a lot of people alive. And many more are still going to die. Children, women. The violence is everywhere because some characters are in charge, making decisions, and their decisions continue to put my life, your life in danger. But they want you and me to continue to tear ourselves apart on who is more supreme. Is it the Christians that are more supreme? Oh, it's the Islam. The God of Muslims is the best. Oh, the God of Christians is the best. Oh, it is the Fulani that are powerful. It is the Yorubas that is this. It is, we can keep up with that until a lot of us will become the victims, right? But I won't keep quiet. And that is why you are watching me. All right? So it can be boring. But the point here is this. We all have our different solutions to what we think should be done. I believe personally that there's nothing new that anybody is going to tell me about Nigeria. Because my own definition of Nigerian politicians are that, is that these are people who created problems, and then they offer to solve the problem. In the course of them solving the problem, then they will create more problems so that they will have more reasons to want to solve more problems. And I think this is the pattern all over the world, but it depends on the type of problems you are orchestrating for your people. Problems that keeps them in poverty shouldn't be anything or any kind of playbook for anyone who wants to be patriotic. So when people throw the card of patriotism, it is very good to remind them that you have to invest in the people if you want them to be patriotic. And at this junction, we all must believe one thing. You must stand for something. I believe that the only thing we have not tried is what seemed to work for us before the whole thing got truncated. And I have sort of absorbed myself of something that whenever I am reading the history of Nigeria, who did what, why, when, the points I should be looking for as a student of history is to learn from that history so that I won't have to repeat them. A lot of us today are not students of history. We are prisoners of history. A lot of us still carries the hate that gave birth to where we are today. And everyone has his own story to tell. It's like we are carrying on. And this seems to be the full definition of no winner, no vanquish after the genocidal war perpetrated by the genocidists who went on to reward themselves, never to sort of, found a place of what you can call resolution, not just that, restitution too. They went on to pretend that nothing happened. And Nigeria never recovered from that. So yeah, they have tried a lot. You have tried parliamentary, it got truncated by military and political crisis. Then you tried military, it all flopped. You went back to democracy, flopped again, tried military, flopped again. Then you tried interim government, that flopped again. You went back to military, that also flopped again. Then you came back to democracy and it's about to flop again. What are you going to go back to next? Military. No, I do not believe that. You see, that conversation they don't want us to have is the conversation you and I and the generation that is now being born must ensure that they have. Why are we in this contraption? Who brought us here? And who says we can't actually have a chat or a renegotiation of this? How many lives do we actually have to sacrifice or kill? How many dreams do we have to destroy or kill before we all come back to our senses that we could actually go back and try something that the worst case scenario, go back and try something that worked for us then. Let everybody control their own affair. Let the Igbos control their own affairs. Raise their own taxes and then, build their own economy. Let them dredge their own river and call it their own seaport. Let them build things for themselves in a way that at least you won't continue to pretend and say nobody is holding them when we all know that the entire system is holding them. Let the Yorubas also, let's face our own people And maybe at worst case scenario, when everybody goes back to their own different regions, we are regionalists. Guys, there's nothing called one Nigeria. It's a fraud. The whole idea is just to make sure that all of us would have to actually do things according to the 7.7% Fulanis in Nigeria. And you know the robbery there too. If you are a Fulani watching me, if you are politically conscious, it will be time for you to begin to reject these criminals too. They have used you for far too long. The poorest people in Nigeria today are Fulanis. And don't give me that bullshit about, oh, they are rich. Don't give me that nonsense. They were supposed to be those in power in Nigeria. But they have built a system whereby intentionally, systemically, they have been so incapacitated. They are the poorest in Nigeria. The next poorest people in Nigeria are the Bayansans. Can you even imagine that? The Ijaws. Can the Ijaws even believe that, watching me right now? Can you not even feel like impossible? It's a lie. But you know I'm saying the truth. And all of us share in the ratio of this poverty. So it's not working for everybody. It's not working for anybody. You being a Fulani and see how the entire system is rigged against you. But in your name, in the name of your own tribe, the entire Nigeria is up in arms. While the criminals who pretend to be Fulani, Hausa, this other. In fact, some of them who are not even Fulani, they pretend to be Fulani since they are from northern Nigeria, because that's exactly how they believe they could get away with anything. But go and look at the real Fulanis. Go and look at the Fulanis in their different communities. You will find them and come back and tell me that it actually reflects on them. The northerners. I am a northerner. We are born to rule. No, you are born to suffer. If you are politically conscious enough, you will see this, that you have no other enemy than those who have been using your name to rob the rest of Nigeria in cahoots with their friends from other parts of Nigeria. So nobody is kind of enjoying anything. The entire system is created and saturated with so much grift. You know, grifters, they call them. Criminals who kind of are living off, their meal ticket is to say they are Fulanis, they are Northerners, they are this, they are Muslims. But go and look at the poverty basket of Nigeria. And then you will see, you realize that these guys don't represent you. But because you are not politically conscious enough, you have been told the Yorubas are your enemy. The Igbos are your enemy. This one is your enemy. That one is your enemy. If they are coming, they will come and kill you. But the people that are supposed to actually protect you, they don't really give a damn. They will kill you first. So you need to stand for something. I stand for the breakup of Nigeria. And I will stand by that anytime, any day. And I believe there is already an army that is being mobilized consciously. You know, I told you that the breakup of Nigeria is not going to be because I want it or because you don't want it. It is going to be solely on the criminals you continue to allow into the system. Let them continue to divide you, Igbo versus Yoruba, Igbo versus Fulani, Fulani versus this and that. And then you realize that one of these days, you will be a pro-Biafra. You will be a pro-Yoruba nation. You will be a pro-Kwarafa Republic, the Middle Beltans. You will be a pro-Arewa Republic. It is their failure that will break Nigeria up. And that's why sometimes when I give you my message, I tell you that Nigeria has created a lot of force. The failure of these criminals has created a lot of force that are currently wondering about in disagreement with this contraption called Nigeria. Even those of you who want one Nigeria, you don't want this Nigeria, do you? Eh? At least a lot of you are complaining. Which kind of country is this? Eh? How this our leader? We're supposed to kill our leaders. That means you disagree with this current Nigeria. Abi? So simply put, you are being pushed slowly, steadily to the camp or break it up. Once they begin to do the right thing, the idea of Biafra, the idea of Yoruba nation, the other ideas of this, they can begin to be diluted because people will begin to feel like, oh, if we have Biafra, is this not what we are going to do? Run our own government, do our own things our way. Why don't we just run our own self for a while before we have Biafra? Kind of a thing. Abi? But this one that they are turning yourselves versus yourselves, and they are stealing and looting the country. The education, the healthcare of young people are being compromised. The future is here already. So the implosion is just a matter of time. The breakup of Nigeria is a matter of time. What we are trying to do is to try and see to it not being violent and bloody. But save for these criminals, they will want us to burn ourselves, kill ourselves before Nigeria finally break up. But with the politically conscious people, you will not give them that. We will go after them. Because you see, day by day, they are already helping different groups to recruit the army of liberators, those that would demand for the breakup of Nigeria. But politically conscious people are concerned that if a revolution is going to happen, this revolution has to happen from within first, the revolution of the mind, where your mind is so clear, not polluted with hate, tribal, jingoism, religious fanaticism, all those things, where your vision is clear. When people scream revolution, 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 sit them down, ask them to explain to you, what do you mean revolution? And can you really tell what would this revolution be about? Majority have no answer. Their own idea of revolution is, let us clear out this our leader away. Let us get rid of them. We need to fight them. It is just a campaign of rage with no clarity. But with the politically conscious people who have a clearer idea of what they are going to demand for, then with these politically conscious people as an army that can take a stand and make an effect, until we have that army, which I strongly believe that we will have, these criminals are not going to change. If you them, they will never stop. And the more they do this, the more a lot of you are going to join us. But for those who don't believe in outright breakup of Nigeria, I respect them. Like I said, stand up for something. Try it. When you stand for something, it is so possible that at the end of the day, you may actually, your own group may actually be the trigger point that the rest of other angry, politically conscious, clear-minded individual groups would also activate. And that's why I encourage that. Do not condemn those who have taken a stand, even if the stand is totally opposite what you think is the solution. Do not help Tifnumbu and gang to gaslight those who are standing up for something, because it is always their easy peasy thing to infiltrate any group they consider a threat to the establishment. And you must see, when people come together to face an establishment, right, you must see beyond the individual that is the head of the rot. And that is one easy way to get you to disarm and say, they just want to gang up against Tifnumbu. No, 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 no. Don't ever fall for that. Tifnumbu is just one guy. There are thousands who are using the rotten system to perpetuate